Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. We're just getting started here. I'm hitting play, and we got a special one for you tonight. Very special. There we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Yeah, we're still in the same studio. We haven't moved yet. And, yeah, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. I know you guys want to get ready to go. So, just waiting for some more people to come on. You know how we do it. But, yeah, let's just get to the show. And if you come late, you can always watch the recording, right? So let's get on to it.
That seems to cry out, behold what we can accomplish. These are the enduring works of man's own creation. Lasting testaments of an eternal struggle.
These are magic lands of enchantment.
For anyone who grew up in Saskatchewan,
We've got the look.
you know you've seen that commercial.
Hand your kid a Nestle drumstick.
A massive great wall. The world-famous terracotta warriors. And the genius of China's extraordinary artists.
Royal family. Oxford Street, London's shopping mecca. Shoppers mingle with friendly bobbies on foot patrol. World-famous stores are to be found in fashionable Knightsbridge. The Queen shops here.
If you understand this sign language, take comfort.
This rail line provides a rarefied experience along several different routes for just 56 passengers at a time.
And cafes. The pub serving traditional beers. Covent Garden, once a famous fruit and vegetable market, now a setting for street theatre. They all bring pleasure, laughter, and relaxation.
Way. Below this breathless pass, the quest for the panda begins. The misty valleys and dense...
The city's modern skyscrapers are complemented by the work
Early
of famous...
the morning, so recalled that the sky, at first pitch black, was rent by violent bursts of lightning and thunderclaps, followed by winds of up to 250 kilometers an hour. By dawn, the city looked as though it had been hit by a nuclear bomb. It was the worst natural disaster ever to strike this country. 66 people were killed and 90% of the city badly damaged.
It wasn't until 88 years later in
The variety makes for a fabulous skyline at the very edge of one of America's 5 Great Lakes, Lake Michigan. Train California leave
Building a broken city. The ruins of Darwin are a reminder of how difficult, how unpredictable this land truly is. It's always been there. Site of Darwin. He'd been instructed to do so by the British government, who wished to control the unsettled
continents, a tiny fraction of the billions of dinosaurs that must have lived during the 160 million year period known.
These vividly colored monkeys share Wolong's trees with another elusive creature.
The gory rites of celebration could last more.
Mostly nocturnal and seldom seen, the red panda roams South Asia's high forests, from Nepal to Myanmar. Although it's called a panda, it may be more closely related to raccoons than to its giant cousin. Still, like the giant panda, it is highly dependent on a priceless resource that springs from Wolong's soil. Bamboo. Without this one plant,
Granted the power of inflicting the death sentence on wrongdoers. These are gentler times devoted to
Some historians, thumbs up or a wave of the handkerchief meant that the gladiator lived, or even became a free man. Thumbs down, and the defeated warrior met a swift death.
animals too.
Finally, in 404 AD, all public sacrifices in Rome were banned by the Christian emperors in power.
panda population.
cathedral with its Norman towers is the most notable legacy of the past.
To trace all of their ancestors in order to be united with them in heaven.
The use of
While the people know that they cannot go back to just living in the old ways, they take great pride in their ceremonies and keep a good portion of their culture intact. Pepperminati, or Big Rock, had a dream. The dream of holding on to their culture and at the same time starting a successful enterprise that would create work for their entire community. With toughness, resourcefulness and good sense, they've done just that. And
next,
they're proud of what they
rip giant chunks of meat off the kill. Modern has similar claws to rip through the earth.
across the top half of northern Australia, a rugged country that has always proved a challenge.
Mind what the big sign says. This isn't California. Not yet. This is Las Vegas, Nevada. Probably the world capital of gambling.
Sheer grace and elegance, there are few towns to equal Bath. Decorated with flowers and possessor of fine architecture, it has one of the country's greatest planned townscapes. Although a Celtic and a Roman watering place, Bath is a true 18th century city. A local postmaster financed the building of squares and crescents with their stylish stone terraces and long vistas.
Medieval fantasy castle. Or how about a mirage? A man-made oasis in the middle of a desert. Las Vegas.
Even in two-legged dinosaurs, the tail served as a balancing.
Where strange stones point heavenwards. These are prehistoric monuments, and this small village has more than any other in the country.
It's nighttime.
From the second millennium,
The world-famous display of neon lights is known.
This land, which could be formed into a lush pasture after overnight rain, was more commonly pinched and uninvited.
15 miles an hour.
Stonehenge, set in the middle of Salisbury Plain, is the finest Bronze Age circle of standing stones in Europe, a mighty temple of a bygone age. Immense
Chevy, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
important events such as the summer solstice. Breathtaking in a different way. Norfolk, the great castle remains an architectural treasure. Tunbridge Wells, in the nearby county of Kent, is one of those graceful, spacious towns which raised the quality of English life. It became popular in the 17th century when its spas matched continental resorts.
2 square miles, with more than 200 buildings of unsurpassed stonemasonry.
Dimly, I began to realize that this wall, with its adjoining semicircular temple over the cave, was as fine as the finest stonework in the world. It fairly took my breath away. What could this place be?
Bingham.
In this land of enchantment,
Repeats the history of England itself. Romantic, eventful, sensational. On an island in a lake, it's called the loveliest castle in the world. The banqueting hall runs the length of 75 feet on the western side of the castle. Flemish tapestries in the hall.
Miles, the most powerful in South America.
beneath the tropical waters of the South Pacific, lies an underwater realm, lavish, resplendent, an overturned treasure chest, brimming with jewels. Australia's Great Barrier Reef Marine Park has a diversity of life to match a rainforest. Complete with quiet grazers and ferocious predators. The corals themselves, their exquisite hues and boundless forms, celebrate the infinite imagination of nature. In life, corals are colonies of tiny animals protected by vivid limestone skeletons. In death, their skeletal
satisfaction from helping their patients.
Thus, I introduced this new approach to wetness and odor protection. New Right Guard Clear Stick, all the protection of a white stick, now in a clear stick. So clear, there's no flaky white stuff. Now perspiration hasn't a chance with this new advance. New Right Guard Clear Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
But you wouldn't know it. Putting on a bold front is a typical Outback attribute.
Listen in, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and down. Excellent.
It flourishes in hundreds of forms.
So strong is its pull. The Sheldonian Theatre was designed by Christopher Wren. It was his first large-scale work. It was opened with great pomp. The real beginning of the university. Since then, it's had influence on culture, education, science, and politics everywhere. Relaxing on the river is a traditional pastime of students who master the art of punting when they go to Oxford.
For a perfect fit or to create a delicate curve in a wall, as in the Temple of the Sun. The trapezoidal shape of most of the buildings was an Inca innovation, lending stability during frequent earthquakes that shook the Andes.
grows from one pioneering polyp which buds off daughter polyps, each genetically identical to the founding mother.
Here to warrant such elaborate construction. Machu Picchu seems to have been a kind of sacred headquarters for the Inca religion, a religion based on worship of the sun and its progress through the heavens. The Intihuatana, or tethering place of the sun. This stone outcropping and equinoxes, so critical to the...
Giant clams permanently anchor themselves to the coral and weigh in at a hefty 200 pounds. Some believe their great shells will close on a diver's leg and drown him. But in
Thousands.
That for dreaming.
the Maori wrasse finds enough delectable crustaceans hidden in the coral
playing up
to grow up.
Ross is an experienced truckie. He gets out and takes a look under the bonnet. No luck. Then he does what any experienced truckie would do. He waits. Someone spotted the breakdown and the bush telegraph goes into action. Expert help's arrived.
Nasal sac, which
Cambridge attracts 4
Australia, together with all its extraordinary wildlife.
Even to the gods, here is my land. Approach at your peril.
Stands of eucalyptus trees. Their branches are some of Australia's most cherished inhabitants. The koala.
Glances. The gate tower of red brick
to withdraw to the northern steps.
Of trees. A koala can snooze for as long as 18 hours a day. As the sun sets over the Pacific, it's time for the night shift to begin.
Gleefully point to the crocodile, which
of New Guinea, the magpie geese of Aurukun would fly above the Torres Strait Islands. For centuries, traders have sailed through the strait as they crossed between the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Once, these islands formed a land bridge between Australia and New Guinea. The 5,000 islanders who now live here are the descendants of Melanesian and Polynesian people who settled this region around 2,000 years ago.
View from the roof.
And nowhere is this more evident than in the ritual dances they perform. Their ancestors were warlike people. The bow and arrow was the chief weapon of war. Feathers, headdress, decorations and face paint were used to strike fear into the enemy.
but armor. Toughest armor belonged to ankylosaurs.
This rail line is vital to the people who live in the Andes Mountains between Ecuador's capital, Quito, and the Pacific coast. With only a souped-up truck motor, the Autoferro can travel just 40 kilometers per hour. But it can carry a trainload of passengers. 60 and all.
Going to be the result.
So as the team kicks off a brand new season, the boys also prepare to play a role in a court case that crosses so many borders.
Widely held theories is supported by the fact that about the time the dinosaurs disappeared, a meteor 5 to 10 miles wide hit the Earth, throwing up a crater 93 miles wide and surrounding the Earth in a huge cloud of dust and steam which blocked out the sun for months, possibly years. The only problem with this
converted to Christianity by the missionaries. But
there's a festival underway. It's the Feast of Corpus Christi.
The Chinese emperor wrote, "Now the common people are pacified and no longer have any fear of war. Men work on the land."
They join together, fresh polyps are created, new colonies take hold, and the empire of coral is restored. The waters of this marine sanctuary may be shallow, but their grace and beauty leave a profound impression.
Workers and prisoners were pressed into service to build the wall.
Life is an astonishing act of nature.
On the horizon is the Norman Castle, today a museum. Norwich can tell of great plagues, the peasants' revolt of 1549, public hangings, the stuff of history. Linked to Norwich are the Norfolk Broads, unique waterways that have no equal in Europe.
Their widows joined the march.
No more so than in the natural setting of the lakes.
One widow's story has passed into legend. Here at the eastern
and the
edge
old
of the
city
wall,
to the south. During the 16th century,
the status of a national park. The best way to see the
main marketplace.
Certainly
2,500 kilometers away. Some of the islanders have brought their
waiting to
the Queensland state team, which is locked in a titanic struggle for supremacy with New South Wales, its traditional rival. Queenslanders score.
Live from Red Deer, Central Alberta's very own CHCA News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Aaron is off tonight. Was it the cold, addiction, an accident? RCMP have ruled out foul play in the two men found dead in our city, but there are still unanswered questions, especially since both men are believed to have been homeless. Karen Bartko reports.
Living on the streets presents several challenges, and accessing a family doctor can be near impossible.
A lot of people in Red Deer don't have a family doctor, so can you imagine if you're an uninsured Albertan how hard it is to actually access healthcare services.
Jansen says there needs to be more cooperation between different...
The Spanish adorned their churches lavishly to inspire faith and as a lure. In a region plagued by earthquakes, the local people were understandably reluctant to come inside such lofty spaces, or entice the new converts inside.
The sea, with its narrow streets to the harbour, also has a...
Creatures is profound.
Would relay information about enemy troop strength by sending up smoke signals.
The buildings and barns of this part of
Bartolome, Española, Santiago. The islands are small, but their impact on how we view the world and its creatures
pride themselves on maintaining a relaxed and casual lifestyle.
There are many ways of bringing dinosaurs to life. One expensive but very comfortable way is to build a dinosaur using 3D computer graphics. Once we'd created our electronic model, it could be lit in different ways.
She reached the
and seen
surface
from
of the
any
Pacific
angle,
Ocean
as
less
good
than
as
a
we
million
think.
years ago.
Nearly.
And she can still
A
spew
less
them.
comfortable way of creating the illusion took place on an army range on a
whole
cold
sections of the wall for use in their pigsties.
Yet already tucked in amongst the sharp-edged crags,
Imprint on the land, testament to the endurance of a people and of their ancestors who built it.
All right, we are 30 minutes in already. Can you believe it? I think it's going pretty good, though, nonetheless. Yeah. Still got them audio issues. I still got some, I don't know, cables that aren't quite solid or something. I don't know. But, yeah. Interesting one tonight, for sure.
Considering they had no wheeled vehicles or horses. They used no written language. But the ruins of the empire...
It was in the Kremlin that the regimes of Ivan the Terrible and Peter the Great were born.
have looked a lot like these.
Holcombe Hall, another Palladian mansion in the Grand Manor, is the Norfolk home of the Earls of Leicester. The Marble Hall is Holcombe's most famous feature. The magnificence of this entrance hall takes
only sea-going lizards on Earth.
The conquistadores tore it open, expecting to find treasure, but there was only more stone. Inca means king. The Inca, the ruler.
The dinosaur race.
Directly from the sun god.
Settlers, they now flourish on these protected sands. Fraser Island is home to an amazing variety of plants and animals. It's a magical kingdom, an island jewel of Australia's northern coast. The dream of actually living on your own enduring come true on Dunk Island on the North Queensland.
Saskatoon Business College, working together with Saskatoon's business community.
Let's see. That's good. The young vet's radical ideas led to Canada's first canned dog food.
A dog needs just two things, son.
Yes, sir?
First, you need to feed him right.
Today, inspired by Dr. Ballard, our nutritionists have created balanced.
Ivan expanded the Kremlin, bringing renowned architects from Renaissance Italy to transform religious authority. He adopted the double eagle as his emblem and took the title of ruler of all Russia, a role his successors would come to call Tsar, modeling themselves after the Roman Caesars. Ivan expanded the Kremlin, bringing renowned architects from Renaissance
Like B-movie dinosaurs.
The town's prosperity is based on its role as a market center for the surrounding farming community and on its port, which has traded for 1,000 years. Country folk and townspeople mingle in the market square seeking fresh produce. The scene is enlivened by the market traders' wit.
I can't swear while you're here, can I? One down there, ladies and gentlemen, 18p, 6 cup, 6...
No! Crispity, crunchity Butterfinger from Nestle.
Nobody better lay a finger on my Butterfinger.
Air Force One. Now on.
Has been high.
His
Ford is magnificent. This is the one you've been waiting for.
In the middle of the carriage.
derived inspiration from the...
Now on video cassette and DVD.
This is a...
When his wagon
abandoned in the snow
and was trapped by
Santa Cruz
defiantly along
in 1216. In fact, the enameled silver gilt cup was made a century later, but it's the earliest surviving piece of English medieval secular plate. Nearby is the Sandringham Royal Estate, the Queen's private country home. The wrought iron gates were made in 1862.
The train has to pick its way down the mountainside using an engineering technique known as a zigzag, a series of switchbacks. The train heads
Dear
into a
old
dead-end track
Sandringham, the
and
place I
slows to a
love more
stop.
than any.
Then it reverses direction, backing down again into another stretch of track below.
The present Queen
There will be
shares
no
her
other way to
grandfather's
safely
affection for this
negotiate
lovely
this steep grade.
The Cathedral of designed by Fioravanti of Bologna, sits in simple monumental form beneath 5 golden cupolas. Here the Tsars of Moscow were crowned.
No time to make dinner? Hurry into M&M Meat Shops, where for just $10.99, get 4 juicy 6-ounce marinated sirloin steaks. Choose from flavors like teriyaki or new urban garlic.
Carried as a standard into battle.
Hey, honey, I'm running late. Can you get dinner?
Vladimir, known by Muscovites as the Lady of Tenderness.
Makes it unique.
The tameness of the tortoises fascinated the English naturalist Charles Darwin when his ship, the Beagle, first sailed to the Galapagos in 18... But what really intrigued him was the sheer variety of animals on the islands.
I never dreamed that islands, about 50 or 60 miles apart, and most of them...
New game that will change every Sonic game ever created for Genesis.
Not now. We're never gonna make it. We'll make it. We'll make it.
Sonic and Knuckles arriving October 18th.
Body Break with Hal Johnson and Joanne McLeod.
Your vacation spot, even with Hal, can be exciting. However, sitting for any length of time may cause stiffness in your lower legs.
Stiffness and cramping in your lower legs can be a problem, but a good calf stretch may be helpful in relieving this discomfort. To stretch your calf muscle, stand with one foot close to the wall and the other well back. Bend your front leg and keep the other straight. Then lean towards the wall until you feel a stretch and hold for 10 seconds. Keep your heel firmly planted on the ground and both knees pointing forward. And hold for 10 seconds.
This stretch is also a good idea for anyone who wears heeled shoes, because a mere half-inch heel can shorten your calf muscle.
Many jobs require you to be in your car for prolonged periods of time, so make it a habit to get out and stretch. Well, until next time. Body Break.
Perhaps the grandest room in the castle is Elizabeth's saloon, with its superbly painted ceiling. The decoration is breathtaking. Figures of Jupiter, Juno, and Mercury fight their mythological battles watched by Venus and Cupid. A spectacular ceiling in a castle that owes much to the inspiration of Elizabeth, 5th Duchess of Rutland. Indeed, a house of riches, the silver punch bowl weighs...
the blue-footed booby, and the albatross. While the two species have never danced with each other, surely on these enchanted islands, it's only a matter of time.
Traditions are still very much alive. Celebration of spring and the new growing season is marked by the crowning of the May Queen. There's a rose-growing tradition that goes back a century and a half.
But the extravagance of life in the Kremlin could not survive the deep dissatisfaction of a restless underclass. After the revolution of 1917, Vladimir Ilyich Lenin founded a new socialist republic. The following spring, he moved the capital to Moscow. The Kremlin was once again the center of power in Russia. This move ushered in a period of profound growth at the Kremlin. Soviet parliament buildings.
If a female...
Today, the life...
It's all to no avail, at least for now. Romance, it seems, is as hard...
Eat off of chipped plates instead of imperial china. Under the Soviets, the Kremlin was transformed into a different kind of monument.
Comfortable place to sleep on an island made of rock. It's practically a breeze. Life is not easy on the Galapagos, but it's certainly unique.
That needs taking care of. Of Cairns, the Great Barrier Reef approaches the land. It's one of the very few places in the world where coral reef meets tropical rainforest. Half of the world's 10 million species of plants and animals live in forests such as these, which are fast disappearing from our planet.
High point of the journey. Standard gauge rail line on Earth, 4,818 meters.
These. Some of the
limited Max Bizarre salt and pepper and more.
In Western
called England in the early 1800s should be called Dinosauria, meaning terrible lizards. Why lizards? We know dinosaurs were similar to reptiles because fossils have revealed that they had scaly skin and laid eggs. It's the dinosaur body plan which sets them apart from the reptiles. 250 million years ago, the reptile design of the day incorporated the short, sprawling legs of the lizard and the short, bent-kneed legs of ancient crocodiles. Dinosaurs evolved because of a breakthrough in leg design. Dinosaur legs were longer and tucked under the body, And this breakthrough came in both four- and two-legged models. Dinosaurs could not only stand up, they could run faster than anything else around. This ability to pursue or escape pursuit was a major factor in the dinosaur's success. T-Rex enjoyed its success by eating its own weight in meat every week. That's 7 tons, or the equivalent of 12 cows. The first T-Rex found wasn't Imperiosa.
Kangaroo
would soon change.
Inca walls, giant jigsaw puzzles that contain no mortar. The Spanish simply built on top of the old foundations. These foundations are actually part of something much larger.
People have been finding dinosaur bones all over the world for 2,000 years. People like the Chinese. Writer
It's the shape of a puma,
who explained the mystery of dinosaur bones by
inside
writing,
the ancient city
a
were the
dragon
temples
ascended a
and the
mountain.
Produced since the mill was built in 1813.
The real goal is another 3,000-foot climb.
They were converted to Catholicism.
The
This
rushing
church in
waters
the
of the
village
River
outside
Trent
Cusco
at Newark.
holds some of
Although
the
we may
evidence
never
of the
be able
efforts
to
the Incas
completely
made to
answer
keep
the
their
why
faith
of
alive.
dinosaur extinction, we do know the when.
Increasingly popular with pleasure boats. The river is a very satisfying.
World-class mountaineers who visit here know the Sherpas are the indispensable key to a successful climb. These native people are world famous for their ability to carry large loads over the most mountainous terrain. Tough and courageous, they are well adapted to the extremes of their high-altitude home. In the spring, rhododendrons carpet the park's
and its lifestyle to anyone.
The mine's job opportunities and good wages attracted immigrants from all around the world. Most mining towns have transient populations. People come,
named after,
then leave.
Again, a steep grade calls for the zigzag.
Frank Coit has been dreaming of
Lowest possible price. I can't call you, but you can call me at 998-3400.
Hey, how's your day shaping up? Is it a round day with lots of the usual stuff, like a billion or so other people? Or is it a flat day where you're paying for the goodies one at a time? Or maybe you're going for the truly creative, harmonious form.
Himalayan tar.
Sup? Fresh baked buns, incredible tastes, and toppings that are actually free. A very face configuration.
For inspiration and recreation, an area of soft, sylvan beauty.
Not only in France, but in all the courts of Europe. And a similar power fell upon the fortunate mistress who had most recently caught the eye of the king.
Change.
That gives this park its name. Everest to most of the world, to the Nepalese, her name is Sagarmatha, Mother of the Universe. She is a forbidding challenge,
people.
Irresistible to some. The first attempt at the summit was mounted in 1922. That climb was abandoned at 27,000 feet when an avalanche claimed the lives of 7 Sherpas. Their sacrifice marked the beginning of a struggle to conquer Everest that spanned 32 years.
Of it. To indulge her taste for the countryside, a charming false
Norgay became the first men in history to witness the view from the top of the world.
That Marie was alert to startling news. French Revolution.
Today, brave mountaineers continue to follow in the footsteps of Hillary and Norgay as they meet treacherous challenges en route to the summit.
Which
can equal this green patchwork, and increasing numbers of people have come to appreciate it. Old rail track beds have become bicycle ways to open up the countryside. The Dales are a national park, and rangers point out sights along the way.
It's a rare breed of man that chooses to face nature at her most hostile. The thin air alone is enough to reduce strong men to feeble children. And then there are the winds. Below zero in a matter of minutes. High winds pummel climbers, gusting at more than 100 miles an hour. Then, at last, for the lucky few, the peak is reached.
Less than a yard in length.
In Paris,
to the
harsh
10-foot-long
war-torn rule of
meat-eating
Emperor Napoleon.
Albertosaurus. Balance was crucial when several tons of dinosaur decided to run. Imagine a multi-ton ostrich, and you begin to get an idea of how the swiftest of dinosaur predators might have moved. But how fast were they? Paleontologists can calculate the answers from fossil.
So he chose Bedloe's Island as a suitable site. If Americans would pay for a pedestal, he assured himself that France would finance a massive statue.
The Gay Gordon coach was used regularly on the London to Edinburgh run 150 years.
Of their breathtaking natural beauty remains untouched, to be enjoyed by anyone who rides along on the scenic railway journeys of the world.
Triceratops had cheek teeth for breaking down coarse vegetation before it was swallowed. The record for the most teeth belongs.
No one knows better than Val Plumwood, who was attacked by a crocodile just 12 months before this film was taken. As Val returns to Kakadu, the memories begin. She remembers paddling her canoe in the East Alligator Lagoon and experiencing a feeling of unease, of being watched.
A support system of 1,800 braces, including a main skeleton and an outer series of struts that would allow the copper plates to expand and contract with the weather without cracking. Eiffel's support scaffold itself was the tallest iron structure of its day, pushing the gargantuan lady above the rooftops of Paris for all to see. But while Paris gawked, America balked. Contributions were slow, well short of the $250,000 needed for the pedestal. Bartholdi took the giant torch on fundraising tours of the United States, where visitors were invited to climb aboard. Eventually, the newspaper publisher, Joseph Pulitzer, harangued the citizens of New York into supporting the pedestal. Itself a masterpiece of understatement, it was designed by Richard Morris Hunt to harmonize with the statue rather than compete with it, while bearing the weight of more than 225 tons of iron and copper. By 1885, France had contributed more than $400,000 to the project.
Of the clouds. These are more.
Flowed out by underground rivers many thousands of years ago. A combination of rain, acid, peaty soil, and limestone has formed
what would become a symbol of hope for a wave of newcomers in the decades to come. The finished statue was 15 stories high, with an...
They go back to the...
China is a land of treasures. Among
of its architectural heritage, especially its 2 miles of city walls dating from Roman days. For generations, poets have written lyrically about the Lake District in Cumbria, none more so than William Wordsworth, who was born here in 1770. He was a man of vision, seeking protection for this area of mysterious lakes, mountains, and quiet, unspoilt valleys.
For your family. And you get a little red wagon for your family's family. When you buy or lease a wagon or minivan during your Ford and Mercury dealers, buy a wagon
with 24-karat gold leaf to enhance the illusion of illumination. Passed under the shadow of the torch, came in search of a better living, in flight from an army.
Hidden in this peerless sanctuary is one of the rarest animals on the planet, China's amazing giant panda. These precious and elusive creatures haunt the pristine forests of an enchanted national park called Wolong. Rising
Statue of Liberty, some 16 million hopeful souls poured into
But it's from
snow leopards. In death, the fearless maidens assumed the shape of 4 snowy peaks.
Area in North America that
Bremer's. A visiting naturalist thought the outpost a hopeless enterprise.
The officers and mariners are all laid up with intermittent fever and look like yellow skeletons.
It's no wonder that all 4 subsequent attempts to set up the colony.
A rainbow stretches over the water. No wonder Wordsworth called it
the prying eyes of man.
As it was in Wordsworth's time, the principal market town and gateway to the southern.
Hail their newly imported marvel. Back in Paris, the French were building one they'd keep for themselves. The same engineer who had built the framework for the Statue of Liberty had been given the commission of his career. Gustave Eiffel, bridge builder.
At lower elevations, gorgeous red-billed magpies abound.
The world. Here, the spices of Asia mingle easily with the smells of great food. The crowd eats, drinks, buys.
Okay, looks like we have a little bit of copyright action going on. We are cutting out the stream, but that's okay because on the recording, we can trim that out. Usually it's BBC or something like that. Anyways, thank you for bracing.
Across the rugged country. Four-wheel drives lend a hand too. It's hot.
So yeah, like I said, thank you for sticking with me. It was a fun one, you know, and we will trim that out for the recording, so look for that. I'm starting to rewind the tapes, so I think we're gonna end the show there. Yeah, thank you for watching. I think we had up to 5 viewers, so that's amazing, you know. And I want to show you this thing here real quick. If I can get a shot of it. Let's see here. Okay. Somewhere here, there's a little fly. You can see it. You can see it. Oh, he went behind there. Oh, well, that's okay. Anyways, there was a fly with me this whole time. Oh, he's back. He's back. There he is. There. Right there. There he is. He's been hanging out with me this whole time. The whole jam. Oh, there he goes. He must have just woke up from hibernation or something like that. I don't know. But, yeah. Again, thanks for watching. This is one of my cameras, the back camera. And we're shooting old school. You know how we like to do it. We like to do it old school, analog Hermit. Yeah. I got nothing else more to say. I'm going to stop yakking and I'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening. Okay. All right. Thank you very much again for watching Analog Hermit. Keep fit and have fun.